After his father averts war by saving a president, a boy must become a doctor to uphold his legacy, although his love for a woman will make him question what is right and what is not. That's why today, episode 1 of Dr. Stranger. If you enjoy the videos, support the channel by liking, subscribing, and enabling notifications. It's free and truly helps me grow. Now let's begin the first episode of this intriguing medical series. Let's go to the South Korean peninsula to meet our little protagonist named Gung, whose father rarely pays attention to him even though he says goodbye before school. When he reaches the door, he encounters two mysterious men who ask if it's Professor Park's house. So he tells them that they're looking for his father, so he calls him to introduce himself as members of the National Defense Assembly. Then they privately discuss a lawsuit against the professor's hospital due to some dissatisfied people with the work that is done for them there. But the assembly member named Jang tells him that he shouldn't worry, since today is not the trial as they had planned, because the government doesn't want this to affect their plans, since they are expecting the start of a war. You can already see the army on the streets preparing for the attack. The man says United States troops in South Korea are waiting to attack the North's nuclear facility to stop them from building weapons that threaten peace. However, North Korea will not stand idly by, because as soon as the attack begins, they will retaliate, starting a war between the United States and Korea. Although Park doesn't know why they're telling him this since they're not a male doctor, he tells him the harsh truth. Manny Lang immediately Sweden. Hours later, as little Kung returns home during an evacuation, he notices Yang's security guard is still there, so he gives him a candy, showing how polite he is, although he has to put it away quickly when he sees that his boss is about to come out. Then he asks his father to eat together since he didn't go to work at the hospital. But since it's time to leave, he orders him to behave and only eat what's in the refrigerator. However, since it's empty, they decide to go to a store for a quick shopping trip. Later, we see that people are making desperate purchases because of the country's alerts, even though the boy doesn't understand anything that's going on. Later, they go home, watching the news, where they report on those panic purchases, while they eat together, something a little more prepared, so the little one can talk about the tanks he saw on the way to school. He even gives his father the idea of going to the United States if a war starts, since his mother lives there. The man insists a large-scale conflict won't start as quickly as many believe. The news shows representatives from both countries discussing that if either takes up arms, the consequences for the people will be severe. In a change of scene, the doctor meets with a man to evaluate a medical report in which a heart in poor condition is shown, which needs urgent treatment. But to treat it, he will have to travel to North Korea since it is the heart of the North Korean leader, because he is so sick that he could die at any moment. But if that happens, the country will fall into chaos, giving the United States the perfect opportunity to attack. On the other hand, Kung picks up the phone with his mother's number in America. It's just that Park is already talking to her, asking her to take care of him for a while. Since he can't explain the danger that's coming, he just needs to get him out of the conflict zone as soon as possible. However, the woman refuses because she wants nothing to do with it. And before the man can convince her, he realizes that the boy was listening. So he goes to his room to comfort him, although he prefers to leave him alone while pretending to sleep. At breakfast the next day, he tells him a man will be waiting when he gets home from school to take care of him until his mother arrives, with whom he will finally leave. But when he confesses that he wants to stay with him because his mother hates him, the man is left speechless. He has to obey, though his father, as usual, ignores him when saying goodbye, then returns to hug him one last time. Time to say goodbye. Park boards a boat to escape north, preparing to assist the North Korean leader. Because it's so complicated, his heart stops briefly. And, as a consequence, the guards bring in the person they secretly captured to pressure the doctor, since they won't allow him to fail. Meanwhile, the Defense Assembly meets to prepare. If the United States attacks, it will destroy southern factories and trigger an explosion that could wipe out the entire country. And at that moment, he receives a call informing him about the movement of the American fleets, causing chaos that forces him to go to the embassy to ask them to stop. Although apparently everything went according to plan, because Dr. Park saved the president. So Hank can be at ease, talking with his security team, saying that tough times create important heroes. Right before his colleagues come in, congratulating him for having made it. Sometime later, our little protagonist practices sewing after having seen his father do it, because he also wants to save lives. And there he meets Yaira, whom he must soon say goodbye to, as it's time to return home. But not before giving her the bracelet he just made, so she will always remember him. On the way, a government patrol intercepts them and takes them to an abandoned cabin where they are executed by order of Yang, who wants to be the only hero recognized for having stopped the war, since with this he earned the respect of the people who even nominate him for president. What he didn't expect was Kung's mother showing up and screaming for her son, until the guard goes with her to calm her down. At the same time, we see that both of them are actually fine, because the North Korean government already had a plan to rescue him, just not in the way they would have wanted, because publicly they will be dead, but in reality they will stay in North Korea as citizens. Years later, the now older boy dances for classmates to sell them music tapes. He runs from the police throughout the school until he reaches a locked building where Yaira appears. And to hide him from everyone? So he takes the opportunity to flirt, saying that they are meant to be together. But she grabs him by the ear to report him to her father until he picks her up, taking her to another place to formally propose marriage. After many tries, he convinces her to accept, but it won't happen soon. So they keep running into Park and she scolds him for not going to class, although she notices the ring the girl has before leaving. When saying goodbye, Yaira tells her their father is killing them, and for dinner soon, making the boys start getting ready to make a good impression. But unfortunately, he forgot that he has to go to the hospital since the teacher won't let him skip this time. Now they arrive at a house where patients receive home-like care, because in this country they don't have the necessary equipment to treat them properly. Still, he teaches him how to do it so he can become a great doctor. Later on, he gives him some flowers and gives him permission to leave, knowing that he has an important appointment he wants to attend. So he arrives at the house, which is strangely open since apparently someone went in to look for the family. And as a result, our protagonist looks for his fiancée all over the place, hoping that she is hiding or safe, until she comes running down an alley, hugging him and then giving him a kiss. That's when some soldiers approach and take her away by force without the boy being able to do anything. Nothing. Unfortunately, they knock him unconscious at that moment so that he wakes up the next day with his wounds treated by his father. He realizes that Yai's father is connected to the country's rebellion, so it's considered a war crime, and they even blame her as an accomplice. However, Hun gets up to go look for her because he doesn't want to leave her behind. But when he opens the door, guards are waiting to take him to the North Korean leader's house, where he tries to escape more than once because he knows bad things are waiting for him. At that moment, he sees another man arrive and beg for mercy, but they shoot him immediately. And there we see that it was General Han who did it, the same man who earlier made his father perform the surgery that saved his president, besides being the one who spared his life in the cabin to turn him into a citizen of his nation. Then, he leads him through the hallways of the place, arriving at a medical care center specially designed to take care of their leader, preventing him from becoming seriously ill again. Once he goes in, he can't come out because it's a super secret place that only a few authorized people know about. And even though our protagonist never asked to be brought here, they make it clear he must obey since he already saw what happens if someone tries to escape. At that moment, another boy asks if by studying at this medical center, he could become his leader's doctor. But Han explains to him that he could achieve it, or he could also become a guinea pig. Apparently, they treat inefficient doctors as patients so new ones can practice procedures on them. Some rather unusual methods. In a scene change, we see that 5 years have passed and Kun is still in this medical prison. He has obviously tried sneaking out at times for fresh air, although the general warns him that no matter how good a doctor he is, his skills won't save him if he tries to escape. He tells him to prepare for an upcoming operation. Then he hears someone calling him, and it's his father, whom he hasn't seen for some time. He even asks him how he managed to get in, because it was required. And, he asks, "Is it required?" Ow. Joke. Yes. Things get complicated when the power goes out, leaving them in the dark. The general stops the surgery to avoid looking bad in front of his guests. But the boy explains to them that he has done this hundreds of times, using the techniques his father taught him a few years ago. He completes the operation successfully before the electricity comes back. Sometime later, the officer goes to Hu to formally congratulate him for what he did. He uses the chance to show him tests from a seriously ill patient on whom he wants to experiment with organ transplants to prevent tumors. But he explains to him that it's a political prisoner who is locked up in a special prison. Seeing how serious his condition is, Chico doubts he will survive, until he hears he arrived here with his daughter, whose organs could be used for experiments. However, our protagonist refuses, since this would mean killing the daughter to save the father. And even though the man gets upset because he has to follow his orders, he can't get the boy to let go. Unfortunately, as he leaves, he runs into some nurses who are bringing in the patients that he is supposed to operate on soon. But there he tells them he won't do it because he thinks it's wrong, until something makes him pause and realize the daughter he's referring to is actually Yaegi, because she still has the bracelet. And as a result, he runs toward her to check, feeling terrible for not having been able to rescue her all this time. Even when he visits her in the hospital, the father wakes up asking him to save her life, even if he has to die. In a change of scene, he goes with his father to examine the results, hearing that it's as serious as it seems. Although the girl also has some problems that could be solved with surgery, something that would kill the father instantly, although he doesn't care. However, Professor Park tells him he can't do that as it violates medical ethics. But the boy gets desperate because they forced him to do many things here. Inhuman. Now the day of the operation arrives, where Kun gets ready to begin, although he realizes that he won't be treating the man King Salerta. But fortunately, his father supports him, saying that the foreigners agree. So, with their permission, he proceeds with the operation successfully. Then he meets with him, hearing that he has to go to Hungary for 5 days, since it's the only condition the foreigners set to donate medical equipment to North Korea. But he will leave his post for no reason, just to monitor Jaehee's progress. He goes with her, promising never to lose sight of her again. Leaving there very happy just as the lights go out, he meets his father, who was waiting for him to ask him to go on the trip, since he knows one of the doctors who will receive him there to help him escape. He even arranged for him to take the girl so she could disappear with him. Unfortunately, our protagonist apologizes, since he can't accept the deal, so he takes him to a secret exit so he can. He can't enter at night, but as he leaves, the light returns when he hears a strange sound. He returns to find his father standing in the courtyard, visible to all the guards, hoping this will truly motivate his son to escape. After watching him get killed and unable to stop it, he has no reason to stay. Episode 1, Dr. Genius +300. Intelligence quotient trapped between love, betrayal, and survival. 10-minute summary.